I went into photography at quite an early level. I think you find a lot of artists who end up doing photography usually start out with painting and drawing, and actually from the outset want to be a painter, and by various means they end up doing photography. But for me, it's always been about photography. Kind of photographed my action men as a kid because my dad had cameras lying around. He was just an amateur photographer. I like this element of photographing my action men and my Star Wars men in little scenarios, and I guess that was perhaps a beginning of creating these little realities that I quite liked, and being in control of the situation. In my work, there's very much a sense of kind of adventure really, and of swashbuckling. This adventure of coming across something and taking it, and it's the act of taking this passive object or this passive space that's very appealing to me. I project onto mute items of clothing or mute areas, spaces. The grey area here is quite literally, it's spaces that I paint grey. It's with a paint that's an 18% grey tone, which is a photographic tone. It's the tone in the whole colour spectrum that's the most devoid of any other colour. So it's the most neutral in a sense. I use that because with that total neutral tone, I kind of render the space my own, and I take away its identity, obviously give it a new one. The privilege that I have of being in that space for a long period of time, and getting very close to the space by painting over the corners of a room or the bed sheets of a bed. So in that act, I'm getting extremely close to the person who was once in that bed, and it's that act that motivates me to get really very close to people, to strangers, without them being present. Them and those work in a similar way to grey area, and in the similar sense that it's me making the work, so my motivations and my kind of thoughts are present. There's a sense of locating the sources of information or inspiration. Once they're located, then there's this kind of internalization of the items of clothing, whether that be actually in the location they were found in, spending time with them there, or taking them back to the studio and then beginning the process of disassembling them and then reassembling them into this fictional character. It is myself. It's vital for the viewer when looking at the pieces once they're realised to know that it's me inside them. It needs to be me inside because I need to be the one who's in contact with the clothing. And they don't really feel like self-portraits, and for me it's not a form of escapism or alter ego. It's really just a case of using myself as an other, as a potential other. These things came about because of a result of acts that took place, that situations that led to these things being left in situations I'll never know, but I can only guess at, and it's the process of not knowing that is intriguing for me. The actual act of photographing whatever it is I've made is a kind of like a celebration of the process that's taken place. I could exhibit just the small objects that I make as sculptures in a sense, but I choose to photograph them because they are almost removed once they're photographed. But also they have, the viewer has only one perspective of the object once it's been photographed, and it's this perspective that I deem to be the best and the one that I want the viewer to have. under those body of work, which is certainly a branch of them. It came about as a result of working with the clothing that I've worked with in them. I wanted to go much closer into the body part, so to actually force the viewer into a much more intimate experience, which is the experience that I have with the items of clothing. My work is not just about sex. It's not about some kind of pathological artist who's obsessed with other people having sex and his own sexuality. It's actually about the possibility to produce and create works that certainly do speak of, or certainly do have sexual connotations, but also open up another dialogue that speaks of kind of creation and evolution and adaptation. The objects in those, and to a certain extent them, are organic, but they're, in some cases, they're non-human. They're kind of subaquatic or alien or almost like fruit or exotic flowers. So it's important for these things to be almost like some kind of deep sea object that you haven't seen before, that's been photographed, at the bottom of the sea, or some kind of mushroom or fungus that comes out at night. And that then, this whole nocturnal activity, in a weird way, speaks of the activities of the people who left the clothing. So it's this whole kind of cyclical events that take place, that in a quite abstract way.